This woman had just slammed the door shut, but ended up making a fortune. Because the sign on the door turned from a 6 to a 9, a courier delivered to the wrong door, leaving the woman with a mysterious package. Because there was no recipient information, the woman just took it in. When the woman opened the package, she was instantly stunned. The box had more than 10 million in cash, and the woman had never seen so much money in her life. She immediately called her best friend to ask what she would do if she found $10 million. Her best friend said that if it was 1,000, she would take for herself, but she would not dare to touch 10 million. Just as the woman was hesitating, her doorbell suddenly rang. She cautiously opened the door and immediately two fierce-looking men appeared in front of her, asking the woman if she had seen a parcel. The woman recalled how she had to steal groceries from the supermarket and drink expired milk because she was fired from her job. Tempted by the money, the woman decided to lie about the parcel, and only sighed in relief when the two men had left. However, very quickly, a knocking sound sounded once again. The two men were already suspicious after seeing the woman hesitate earlier. After entering the house, they began to rummage through the boxes and cupboards, looking for places where the money could have been hidden. The man in the lead even took a break to piss in the toilet, and also instructed the other man to remember to search under the bed, and sure enough, the box containing the money was lying under there. But before he had time to rejoice, he was hit by a vase and fell onto the ground. To open the package earlier, in a panic, she grabbed it and accidentally stabbed the man's body, and was able to stay alive. But the next moment she began to regret her actions. Originally she was just a normal office worker, but now, she had become a serial killer. The woman's heart produced a sense of guilt, and so came to the police station to turn herself in. Due to a lack of manpower at the police station, a man had slept on the station bench for 3 days and 3 nights. Seeing this scene, the woman suddenly developed a bold idea and returned to her apartment. After returning, she immediately emptied out a long box before dragging the body into the box, but it was too narrow, so she had to put the other body temporarily into the closet. She then cleaned up the blood on the floor, and locked the door, before going out to buy another box. On the other hand, because the mob boss did not receive the gambling money, he called the boxing gym's boss to ask about it. Now having heard the news that his men had lost contact, the boxing gym's boss also began to suspect that his men had run off with his money. So he decided to send out a mute and a deaf to go out to look for the money. When they came to the woman's apartment, they even walked right past the woman. However, after arriving at the real room number 9, they couldn't find anything, and was just about to leave when the deaf saw his colleague's motorcycle, and suspected that the previous 2 colleagues were hiding somewhere in this apartment, so he went to take a look around with the mute. They encountered a resident living in this floor, and after inquiring, the resident said that 2 men with the same clothes as them had gone into room number 6 and never came out. Coincidentally, at this time the door plate fell down again. The deaf sensed something, so he took the mute into the woman's room to search. The mute also searched all over the room, but he was not very good at it, and did not even notice a foot poking out. On the deaf's side, he also did not find anything when the phone suddenly rang. The 2 of them drew their guns at the same time, and aimed at the other side. After figuring out it was the phone, the mute goes to pick up the phone, but quickly realized he was a mute and couldn't speak. He gestured for the deaf to come over to answer it. The deaf took the phone and then remembered that he could not hear the phone, so he also put down the phone. He kept blaming the mute, and the 2 almost killed each other because of a phone call. Just as they were about to leave the room, a pager started ringing. After realizing that it was neither of them, they finally set their sights on the coffee table. When the deaf opened the box, the mute was so scared that he covered his mouth, and at the same time, and the body in the closet also fell to the ground. The 2 immediately realized the seriousness of the problem, and restored the room to its original appearance, and then left in a hurry. However, all of this was seen by the gangster, sent by the mob boss, and when the 2 left, he also went into the woman's room. However, because the room was restored to its previous appearance, he did not see anything unusual. So he went into the toilet to take a piss, but when flushing the toilet, he encountered a problem with the toilet, and the water just wouldn't come out. Just when he wanted to climb up to the water closet to check the situation, the woman had returned and entered the room. While the woman was busy moving the boxes, he carefully moved himself into another closet. The woman did not realize that there was someone in the house. After locking the door to the room, she was in a hurry to move out the body and stuffed it into the box. The scene was seen by the gangster clearly from inside the closet. The woman had accidentally stained her hands with bloodstains when moving the body. She had OCD, so she immediately ran to the bathroom to rinse, but was shocked to find the cigarette butt that the gangster had dropped into the water earlier. She realized that there may still be other people lurking in the house, so she first went outside to check the balcony, and then checked under the bed, but she never found anything. When she was ready to continue to dispose of the body, she remembered that she had yet to check the closet behind her. Seeing that the woman was slowly approaching him, the gangster could only pull out his weapon. Fortunately, the woman opened only the right cupboard door, and had yet to open the left cupboard door when there was another knock on the door. This time it was a police officer who was at the door. The woman thought she had been exposed and almost sat down on the floor in fear, but the police officer instructed her to keep quiet and even locked the door to the room. It turned out that he had found out that someone was doing drugs next doors and wanted to borrow the woman's room to go over the balcony to make an arrest. The woman was clever, and waited for him to turn around to cover a bedsheet over the body. However, just when she was saying goodbye to the police, the bedsheet fell down by accident. The police immediately pulled out his gun and told the woman to hold her head and crouch down on the ground. After identifying the body, the police thought that the woman couldn't be alone in committing the murder, and that she must have had other accomplices, so he told her to keep quiet and locked the door. The police also started looking around the room, and finally targeted the unopened closet. Seeing the police approaching, the gangster had already loaded the bullets into the chamber. Now, 2 more bodies had appeared in the house. Suddenly, another knock came from the door, and this time it was the downstairs neighbor who had come to borrow seasoning. With her mind still on the 2 bodies in the room, the woman came up with the excuse that her boyfriend was at home, to avoid letting her in. Unexpectedly, after the woman started mopping the floor, the nosy neighbor returned with her friends to check on her. They originally thought that the woman was having fun with her boyfriend and were enjoying the show, but the next second, they were dumbfounded, because the policeman the woman was dragging was the neighbor's boyfriend. She was very sad, and thought that her boyfriend had betrayed her. At the same time, the woman also ran out of extra boxes, and could only put 1 body into the bathtub, and another behind the door. She then went out to re-procure the boxes. Not long after the woman left, the other gangster had also arrived looking for his companions, while calling on the phone. Finally, according to the ringtone of the cell phone, he came to room 6 and found his partner's body, but he also saw the police behind the door. Afterwards, he reported to the mob boss that the boxing gym people had even colluded with the police after stealing their money. On the other side, the boxing gym boss used the information brought back by the mute and the deaf to deduce that the gangsters hired the woman to use her looks to kill men and take away the money, so they didn't have to pay. So both sides began to take action on room number 6. The woman's frequent purchases of boxes also started attracting the attention of the public, and a passerby even made an anonymous phone call to the police. When the woman was done, she realized her car couldn't carry all these boxes in one go, so she borrowed a van in the name of book donations. Originally, her friend had already agreed to help, but when the woman rushed to the friend's residence, she found that her friend had decided to commit suicide because of a recent breakup. Fortunately, she found her friend in time and saved her. To prevent her friend from having the thought of killing herself again, the woman decided to take her along to dump the bodies. It was not until she pushed all the boxes into the Black River water when her best friend finally began to suspect that the boxes were not loaded with books at all. The woman finally opened the boxes so that her best friend could see the truth, but when the woman was ready to drive away, the friend did not want to get on the car, probably out of fear for the woman. The woman had to take out a pistol to threaten her, which made the friend follow her obediently. On the road, the woman told the story of the huge amount of money found, and decided to take her friend together to escape to a foreign country. Later, the woman stopped to pick up her passport when she was suddenly held at gunpoint by a gangster. Seeing that she had yet to return, the friend came to look for her, but when she saw her, she was immediately shot by the gangster. The woman was also taken to the car to go meet the gangster boss. When they were riding in the car, the gangster thought the ride was too boring, so he played a song. As he listened, he was struck with emotion and couldn't help but think of his dead mother. The woman took advantage of his sadness and grabbed his pistol to avenge the death of her best friend. Before she left, she even left the tape behind as a parting gift. Now that she had her passport, she decided to go home and get the money to go away from here. But at this moment, the mob boss and the boxing gym boss were confronting each other in room number 6. As the 2 bosses were both unwilling to admit to the accusations, they ended up being taken hostage by each other's underlings. Neither side could do anything to the other until the arrival of a group of police. The original confrontation between the 2 groups of people was now between 3 groups of people. Since everyone had a gun in their hands, they all looked at each other, and no one dared to make a move. At this moment, the whole room was unusually quiet, and even the sound of the clock ticking could be heard clearly. Suddenly the phone rang, and the silence was broken. The mute was the first to pull the trigger, followed by all the rest of them. When the woman came back, she was immediately stunned as the whole room was filled with bodies. She had been dumping bodies all day, and was already very tired. She did not want to buy more boxes to deal with these people, so she quickly took the hidden money and packed her luggage to leave the sad apartment.